Hello and welcome to the True North Show. I'm your host, Megan North, and I'd like to thank our sponsors of the show, Quantum Awakening, Beth Lewis, Anne C. Clark, and our lovely guest who paid to be featured on this episode. Today, I am joined by a wonderful man who doesn't just have an incredible business mind, but is also very kind, warm, and a true gentleman. With over 25 years of experience in operations, consulting, small business ownership, and corporate management at both regional and global levels, Leo Aspite brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the Alternative Board Gosford. Leo's career has spanned various industries and roles, from leading startups and engineering teams to managing director positions in mid sized businesses and large global corporations. Through these experiences, he has developed a holistic approach to business transformation, focusing on leadership, sales, and engineering to help organizations adapt and grow. As a coach and facilitator, Leo is dedicated to helping business owners and management teams unlock their full potential. He provides the tools, framework, and insights needed to understand, plan, develop, and scale businesses effectively. Leveraging the proven methodologies of the Alternative Board, Leo aims to challenge conventional thinking and drive positive change in the businesses he works with. Now, outside of work, he's passionate about enjoying good food, traveling, and spending quality time with his family. And he is also a keen interest in all sports. So, if you're ready to turn challenges into opportunities, align your business goals with your personal aspirations, and thrive within supportive community, the Alternative Board Gosford offers a pathway to success and fulfillment. Partner with Leo, and together, not only will you work on your business, but he will also help you achieve the life you envisage. Hello, and welcome to the True North Show. I'm your host, Megan North. I am a purpose finder, mental health professional, and guide for those ready to return to who they truly are. Here, we explore what it means to live a life led by purpose, alignment, and deeper inner truth. Through real conversations, powerful reflections, and soul led strategies, we'll uncover the stories, tools, and insights that help you navigate life's crossroads and find your own true north. So, whether you're in the middle of a transformation, seeking clarity, or just curious about what's next, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Your path starts now. Welcome to the show, Leo. I've really been looking forward to sitting and talking to you today.
Thank you, Megan. It's just a privilege to be with you. I'm
Aw,
really excited about our chat coming up, and hopefully we can share a bit of insight and for the viewers and for everyone that's listening in. Yeah, really looking forward to it. It's an honour to be with you.
thank you. Thank you. So, reading out your bio, clearly you have pursued many passions and purposes throughout your career. So, what was the defining moment that led you to pursue your true passion and purpose at the beginning of your career? What was the first thing that you did?
Wow. It's a long career. Makes me sound really old, but one of the clear things that I remember, and it was a story, and it was a fork in the road.
Mhm.
I was a young budding engineer working really hard, but very shy. So I was the guy that would probably sit in the corner and just work away and not interact too much. And then I felt like it was stopping my life, the full potential. I had ambitions, I had things I wanted to do, and I could see I was missing out just because of my fear of people. And so I thought, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to tackle fear head on, right? So what I did was I was working as an engineer. A friend of mine asked me to go teach at our community college some CAD programs. And I felt like this is it. This is my way, face my fears, get in front of a class. And so the CAD side I knew really well, but the people side was just I was physically sick at every class for at least 3 months. So 3 months, it was a class on the weekends. I'd rock up half an hour earlier, and I'd be outside sick. And then after a while, probably the first month, I stopped vomiting, all the time.
Hmm.
And it sounds weird, but and then I realized, if you do it often enough and if you're prepared, then it becomes normalized. And that
Mm,
was a big moment for me, because what it meant for me is that I could have the life that I wanted,
mm,
rather than the life that was controlled by fear. Yeah. And so eventually I stopped being sick. Eventually I started to get right into students and their journeys and leading those people down what their goals were. And I really loved that. And that set the platform for me early on onto
mm,
what my true purpose was. And then that unfolded into various careers and businesses and to
mm,
where I am now. But that moment of making that
mm.
decision, even though I was going to be sick and I knew I would be, was the moment that changed my life, I think.
That is incredible. And to think that at such a young age you had so much presence, but awareness as well.
Mm.
Because so many people talk about the fact that they've felt like that for 20 years, 30 years, and they've never done anything about it. And then finally, later in life, they've taken the leap. But for you to really be sitting there and realizing that it was blocking you is incredible.
Yeah, yeah, and
Wow.
it was very visible because I was watching others succeed,
Mm.
and I go, well, I've got the ability to do that, but
Yeah.
what's stopping me? And it was that, and yeah, that was my challenge.
Wow.
So there you go. And then if you fast forward it many years later, I'm a keynote speaker at the Crown Casino in Melbourne, and I'm pinching myself because I'm going, how did I get here?
Yeah.
How did I actually get here? And that
Yeah.
was like the validation of
Mm.
that journey. And that was like 25 years later. Yeah.
Mm. And
So
what were you speaking about at the casino, at the
I
event?
was speaking to engineers and,
Mhm.
careers within engineering.
Mhm.
So I was sharing, what workplaces were like now, where the talent pools are, the
Mhm.
way the world has changed regarding pathways. And so,
Mhm.
because I was an employer, I had a lot of experience around what companies are looking for, and so that was the topic that I was invited to talk about. And
Mm.
the topic was quite easy, but when I looked across the room, there would have been 300 or 400 people that I don't know, whatever there was there, and I wasn't nervous,
Yeah.
and I was looking at, and I was thinking. I thought back to that moment when I decided that I'm going to change my life,
Yeah.
and that was the validation that happened.
Mm, yeah, wow. And I think one of the things that's really interesting when we talk about that fear factor as
Mm.
well is that, and I've been trained as a professional speaker, so I guess when you're trained, you kind of get all the tips and tricks, right? But as a teacher and then as a speaker, one of the things that I always keep in my mind is that no one knows what my script is. Like no one is sitting up there with my script going, or oh Leo, you missed that line. No one know. They're just there to hear what you want to share, and
That's
so
it.
and from a teacher point of view as well. And so it's so interesting, isn't it, that we put so much fear and anxiousness and nervousness into it, but people are just turning up, just wanting to hear what you've got to share.
Yeah, very much so. And you know yourself is that technology can let you down, and
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
things happen, right? And they do, and so you learn. You just learn that they're there. And
Yep.
if something happens, you just adapt, and then you
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
And no one knows any different, right? Because they don't know the
Exactly.
background. So that
Exactly.
actually happened at that big event. they forgot to put a couple of the slides up.
Right.
We just kept going, and nobody knew any different, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A younger version of me would have been, quite stressed about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Really interesting.
Mm.
And so in the bio that I spoke about, we talked
Yeah,
about the alternative board.
yeah,
So can you explain what the alternative board is and what's the concept and what's the work that you're doing with people in this business?
yeah. It's really simple stuff. Really, all we do, or all I do, is I gather, 6 to 10 business owners, non-competing business owners. I put them into a peer advisory boardroom environment, and we basically workshop their challenges and opportunities on a month-by-month basis. And so all we're doing is just helping business owners with their businesses. And it's a long-term strategy. The people that come onto these boards, they learn how to fish, and that's pretty much what we're doing.
Mhm.
And then we help them, focus in the areas that they're either not experienced in, or that they're bottlenecks within their business. And it's a joy. It's an absolute joy and privilege that they trust us with all of that. And I love it. I've seen a lot through my business career, and have a lot of those experiences. But that collective approach and the accountability that happens in that room is just phenomenal. It's just
Mm,
phenomenal. So
mm,
I feel very honoured and privileged that I can be a small part of that. Mm.
definitely. And so what are some of the reasons why people join the alternative board?
Yeah, it's being an engineer, I thought I'd only be helping engineering businesses. As it turns out, um, most of them are not engineering businesses. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the reality is businesses have business owners, forgetting about what their business is, have common challenges,
Mm,
and they're usually around time,
mhm,
money, staff or people,
yeah,
around vision,
mhm,
strategy, or exit. They usually fall into those categories,
mhm,
and so that's kind of our niche, that we help these businesses along. So
right,
yeah, so what started out with I only know engineering businesses, it's really quickly turned into a lot of businesses have similar or common problems.
mm,
And we work with established businesses, so that's where they sort of sit. Not
yeah.
much startups.
And having no, I mean, that's how we met through the alternative board as well. Is that I think one of the other reasons that people join is because often as a business owner you feel quite lonely.
Oh, yes, definitely. So my own engineering business before the alternative board was
Mm,
exactly that.
mm,
I was the MD in Australia. I reported to a board that was in New Zealand, pretty much left on my own, making lots of big, mega dollar decisions. The board was supportive, but they limited, and so for me it was a lonely, lonely place,
mm,
especially that I lived on the Central Coast, and my business and the workshops and the engineers were all down in Melbourne,
mm,
suitcase. So it was very lonely, very difficult. And so I just wish, I always tell people this, I wish I was part of the alternative board as a member, because it would have helped me a lot,
mm,
especially in the exiting part of the business and
mhm,
building that succession plan. I did
mm,
it reasonably well, but I would have done a lot better with this environment, and I would have got more money. So,
mm,
yeah, there's plenty of reasons, for myself that a peer advisory board would have been a lot better option as a
mm,
support network, to what I was doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so were you aware of the alternative board? Is it something that's been on your radar or did you just happen to go to a meeting? Like how did the alternative board for Gosford come across your path?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I sort of it was driven by purpose. So uh, I kind of knew that this is where I'd end up from my purpose drive. That I always like helping people, and therefore I've been around business a long time, so I like helping business owners because I
Mhm,
understand that. And then I thought, I even went and did an international coaching federation course during COVID when everyone was locked up, and because I knew the next phase was going to be in some sort of space. So what happened was when I devised my exit plan from the other business, and I knew that I could only do that business for 5 to 6 years because it was just physically too much
Mm.
living interstate.
Mm.
So then I started to look around. I go, okay, who's doing this very well? Who's actually delivering a service, from a business point of view, that you can make have a good thriving business, and B, that actually have the right tools and systems and processes that will deliver. So I went searching for that, and then I spoke to a couple people in that field that were doing, well. So, I jokingly say I was stalking them to see, to see what I could learn. And then I found that it was a great community and it was a really good process. The Alternative Board's been around since 1990. They've been doing these peer advisory boards. They've got all the tools, all the system, all the evidence is there that this really works
Mm.
on a global scale. So
Mm.
I thought, well, these are the guys I need to be talking with. So I reached out to the Australian division, and then started those discussions. They introduced me to a couple of the facilitators,
Mhm.
and I sat on some of their boards as a guest.
Mm.
And then I just knew. I said, this is what I could do really easily. I could bring value to the
Mm.
Central Coast. And then my purpose, and I know, this was one of the things we're going to talk about, but why am I doing it? And the reason why is I have a blatant goal of helping 100 Central Coast businesses prosper on the Central Coast over the next 3 years. So they will prosper and employ local people like our children.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
and if you live on the Central Coast, you'll know that there's 30,000 people a day driving down to Sydney for work. And
Mhm.
it's not a great lifestyle. 12 to 15 hours in the car every week, all of that
Mm.
stuff there. So if I could make a change or just support our business community on the coast so those businesses can thrive and prosper and hopefully employ some of our kids, so this place becomes an even better place for our families to live. Because guess what? I got three boys, and
Mm.
two of them still live on the coast, but the other one had to move because the opportunities weren't there.
Mm.
So it's very purpose driven, but the alternative board is my vehicle to be able to put that vision ahead.
Mm. Mm. Wow, that's an incredible. I didn't know that. I didn't. We had never spoken about that. So I feel really privileged that you've been able to share that today. It's an
Now,
amazing vision.
now it's out there,
Yeah.
out there in print. Right?
Yes. So
So
in three, maybe we need to do this every year at the same time, and we'll do
yeah,
a check
I
in.
can give you the head count. I'm over 20 now, so I've got about 80 to
Wow.
go. But it's about accountability. That's I'm doing this because I've got to be accountable to myself.
Mm.
So I'm calling it out
Yeah.
in that because I really believe in that purpose, and so this is my way of making sure that I deliver on what I say.
Mm. And so what is it about like the coaching and the helping business owners? What is it about that you love? Why does it light you up?
I feel very honoured that they trust me
Mm.
with their numbers,
Mhm.
with their detail, with their I love the fact that I'm a partner, and
Mm.
I love the fact that they, some ring just about every day, just for anything, and because I'm part of their business world. I
Mm.
love the fact that they trust me
Mm.
with that vision for their own business, that
Mm.
they, and it's not always pretty. There's challenges, sometimes there's tears,
Mm.
but they've honoured me by trusting me with that responsibility, and that I do not take lightly.
Mm.
I absolutely love the privilege that they've bestowed upon me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can completely relate to that because
Mm.
I feel the same with the clients that I coach. It
Yeah,
feels like a real privilege that you're on the journey with them and that they want you to be walking beside you on that journey.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's an honour, right?
it is definitely, definitely.
Gives me joy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really lovely. And
Mm.
so for you, from your perspective then, do you, because you've just said that you want to be accountable, do you have a coach? Like, do you have someone that helps that you can call upon and sort of, bounce things off as well from your perspective?
I do, and we both know him.
Ah. I actually didn't know that. I
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
more
It's not
curious.
very well known,
Yeah, yeah,
because we just deal that with ourselves. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah, he's when you align your values,
yeah,
right, and your goals, you try to find somebody that you relate to, and I just relate to him beautifully in every way. From a spiritual point of view, from a
mm,
business point of view, there's a big alignment, and so yeah, we lean on each other,
yeah,
and it's an additional thing that I didn't even think about. It's
mm,
just come about, and it's so we have an accountability for our members and people that we work with, but we're also within this business. We're accountable also at our level,
yeah,
and I find that's beautiful because it's the same thing. We all have
yeah,
businesses, we have business challenges, and having the same processes that we expect our members to have
yeah,
is aligned. So I'm very fortunate because I've got one of
mm,
the best, right?
yeah,
As you know.
yeah,
So yeah, he's just a light in um, in my journey.
yeah.
So yeah, I just I'm blown away by that.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so important that we need to literally practice what we preach, right? it's
That's it.
it's one of the first things that I often ask people if I'm going to be partnering with them or doing some work with them is that what are you doing then for yourself? And
Mm.
if they say, "Oh, well, I don't really need anything," and I'm like, well, what, don't you want to develop and grow? It's important that we do that as well because we then bring everybody along from the journey that we're on for them anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I I believe in that big time, and I'll tell
Mm,
you to the point where I had to make a big change. So if you go back a few years, I
mm,
was running MD of an engineering business in Melbourne, lots of staff. I knew from day one that I couldn't sustain that for more than 5 years. So I
mhm.
did my exit and succession plan from day one.
Yep,
Great, great thing, but through necessity because I just knew.
yep,
But then, like about 3 years ago, I really challenged myself because my health was deteriorating and I had to live my values. So I made a conscious plan and followed that plan to exit out of that business, to sort my health issues out. I had, knee replacements. I had lots of stuff going on that was just hanging around because I was always working and I never
yep,
dealt with them properly, right? And
yep,
so I put a plan in that put health at the top of the list. I put joy and passion and purpose at the top of the list. I put relationships, time, balance, life balance,
yeah,
and so I changed the way I ate. I changed the way you know, I, I exercise. I put all of those things that I neglected for a long time in this plan. And so the
mhm,
version that you're seeing now lives a very well balanced life. I don't do the 60 flights a year. Most times I'm driving 15 minutes it's really cool. It's
yeah,
so cool that I just walk around with a smile. And
mm,
I go, wow, I've actually got 6, 7 pillars that are all going in the right direction.
yeah,
And that was very purposefully done.
yeah,
I asked for a lot of help upstairs,
yeah,
to get that journey going.
yeah,
And he's been kind to me. And but I did the work. I had to do the work, and I had to exit a very profitable business to, like I could have just stayed in the money lane for
mm,
that. So the reality was I just had to decide what true purpose was, right?
Mm.
We are on the True North show, so I'm talking about
Mhm.
that. And I had to deliver because I
Mm.
cannot expect other people to do the same if I
Yeah.
didn't do it myself. So I had to do it first.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say that I'm not there yet, but 100%. But my life is just a light. It's
Mm.
just relationships. My story. I lost my wife in 2012, and I thought that was going to be the plot that I was in. But if you're prepared to be open and you're prepared to reinvent and you're prepared to do the work, you can have the business you want, the relationship you want, the
Mm.
health journey you want, the family you want. All of these things can be achieved, and I'm just so excited that that is all possible.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to experience all of that.
Mm.
Bring it on.
Yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it, from a if we're talking like spiritual and
Yeah,
energetic point of view, is that the more we do the work on ourselves, the different people that we start to bring into our lives as well, and the different
yeah,
levels that they're on.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And I believe in that. Like I believe in this law of attraction thing.
Mm.
As an engineer, I
Oh.
didn't, but, but an MD and beyond, when I believe in that. And so the only person you can control is yourself, right? So
Yeah.
if you work on yourself, you bring your best version of yourself, you'll attract the right, like I got married again last year. You bring the
Yeah.
right people into your life. I bring the right clients. The clients
Mm.
I work with are just a joy,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
I don't deal with, because I'm attracting the right people,
Yeah.
I'm setting the right expectations, right, for everybody,
Yeah.
and bringing the right value, right? And with that, business is a joy. It's just a joy. It's,
Yeah.
like there's not a lot that I can complain compared to my old life. This
Mm.
is phenomenal, and
Yeah.
and I brought that to me just by attracting what I want out of life, being really clear, finding
Mm.
out what it is that you really want out of life.
Yeah.
What is your joy,
Yeah.
and then all of that stuff, all those ducks start to line up.
Yeah.
Right, a bit of prayer, and doors start to open. You're
Yeah.
right, and then things that I can't even explain. I just, it's beyond me. I just, I focused on, that joy and what that joy looks like,
Mm.
and then, do the work. And then now I'm sort of, it's a joy. Everything is just great fun,
Yeah.
and, why not? Why
Yeah,
not? Right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's the work that I do with my clients in helping them find their true north, because I wake up every day loving what I
Yeah.
do. And I want everyone to feel that. And when talking to you, it's why you and I connected immediately as soon as we met,
Yeah.
because we've just both got that. We want everyone to just be feeling that joy and living life to the fullest. It's
It's the why
possible.
not. It's why not, because it's
That's
possible, right?
right, exactly. Why would you want anything less?
Yeah. Well, I guess I wish I learnt it earlier,
Yes.
Megan, right? But that's life.
Yeah.
Wisdom comes with time,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah.
you have to go through stuff.
Yep.
No one misses out. Everyone
No.
gets something,
Yep.
and we've
Yeah.
had our fair share of that stuff, but we
Yeah.
survived. My
Yeah.
boys, 3 boys survived. Yeah, but what it does is it gives you all of that stuff gives you clarity and purpose. And then once you've worked that stuff out, it brings, you start to focus on only the good stuff that you
Yeah.
want in your life, and
Yeah.
you prune away all the other
All
stuff.
the same. Yeah. Oh, I love that. You prune it away. So, Leo, I just wanted to ask you before we move on to the mental health piece, the work that you're doing in the alternative board, when you've got the clients and business owners that are coming to you and they're sitting around the boardroom table and they're talking about issues that they've got in their business and challenges. Do you think that that's the same sort of issues and challenges that you have experienced when you first started in business? Like, do you think things have changed over time, or do you think that those pillars that you spoke about, time and money and those sort of things, are always going to always the same?
Yeah, I think sometimes the detail might change. Like AI is a big topic, and those
Mm,
sort of things. And there's always going to be those sort of things. The world does evolve. COVID, and there's
mm,
wars. There's a lot of global stuff that impacts business, right? So the one thing that's guaranteed is change. There's
mm.
always going to be something for businesses to deal with. But
Yeah.
the way the structure of how problems and challenges occur, I don't think that has, because
Mm,
people are people,
yeah.
and so yeah, it's just transforming, whatever it is that is the bottleneck,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's changed, because even I recognise some of the challenges that we resolve. I had those same challenges,
Right.
yeah, exactly those,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
a lot of the time it's just about people.
Mm,
You dig, keep digging down, and you
mm.
find out that sometimes the bottleneck could be the business owner themselves.
Right. Yeah.
It could be fear, right?
Mhm.
Could be, there's a lot of things, could be, there's a lot of things that can hold a business back.
Yeah.
And I don't think that changes. I think, if we'll see another generation come through, and they will have similar sort of scenarios,
Yeah.
of the detail might change.
Yeah.
The areas of challenge, what I don't think will change, because
Yeah.
we're humans, and we have these obstacles in life to overcome.
Yeah.
So that's what I've seen so far. Like
Mhm.
with dealing with all these businesses, I see that there's some common things that continue to pop up.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool, because then we know we've seen that before. We know sort of where to go with that. And
Mhm.
of course, there's new things all the time.
Mm.
Generally speaking, the foundation stuff, we've seen a lot of that, and we've even experienced a lot of that. And that just helps the room,
Yeah.
and it comes out in the collaboration is,
Mm.
someone will bring something out, and then one of the other members will actually address that really, really well, because they've
Mm.
had that in their own business.
Mhm.
So that collaborative approach just is the cream, because it brings sometimes things that we haven't even thought about.
Mm.
And it brings just, a complete look at what that challenge is, and what is possible
Yeah.
to do in a practical sense, because it's really coming from a business owner,
Mm.
a consultant, a
Mm.
book, or a theoretical approach. It's actually coming from someone who has got their business in the same area,
Mm.
right? The locality side.
Mm.
Someone who may know someone like a referral that could help solve that problem. So,
Mm.
it's all really relevant to what it is, and it's tailored to their challenge. So
Mm.
I applaud that within the
Mm.
Alternative Board. I think, that's what it brings. And I think that's why the members get such good value, in their journey.
Mm. And I love that, this vision that you've got, because really you're creating a legacy then of the businesses that are going to be on the Central Coast, who then have this feeling of being able to go into boardrooms through the alternative board,
Yeah,
feeling connected, feeling supported, that they've got
yeah,
their back. And then if that is then going to the next generation, then that collaboration in business and not being a competitor, but being someone who can support each other
yeah.
is definitely a legacy of generation that you're creating.
Yeah, it's what blows me away is how many of these businesses want a legacy business,
Mm,
right? And so it's not all, get in, get out. It's some of them that really build in their own purposes, and they're looking to structure it in a legacy. Whether that's an employee stepping up, or whether
mhm,
that's a family member, or whatever that looks like.
yeah.
Interested in beyond
Hmm.
sustainability and beyond, and
Mm,
that's powerful stuff.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
just aligns itself very well with my vision, right? So they've got
Absolutely.
my attention big time,
Yeah.
and I will do everything, within what I can do with the alternative board, is to help them on that journey.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. So when you're pursuing your passion and purpose, how do you maintain, balance, prioritize everything to do with mental health and well-being? What have you done over the years? Has it changed? Like, has that journey changed, or have you had things that you've always done that really work for you? What does that look like for you?
So I've had to change in a big way. I had to look at, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, is that when I decided to do this business, I really had to look at every pillar of life.
Mm,
And in the past, I never did health well. I did family more reactively, because I lost my wife and I had to reinvent because I had to be around a bit more,
mm,
for my boys,
mhm,
and but it never really dealt with it well. It was always just reacting to or responding to what was ahead of us, and
mhm,
when I planned for this business, I actually really did it well. I took my time and I thought about, how do I do this well and sustainable, because it's going to
mm,
be the next probably the last phase of my working career,
mhm,
and I want to do it really well. And
mm,
so, if you look back at my previous life, the last one, I was, working 6, 7 days a week. It was interstate, 60 flights a year, eating at the wrong time, living out of hotels, always on planes, trains, and automobiles. I was away from the family a lot. And the boys were a bit older, so they didn't need me as much. But still, that took away all of that lifestyle and it put a lot of pressure on me.
mm,
Mentally, I was drained,
mm,
because it was just so constant.
mm,
And as you get older, you feel these things. As a 40-year-old manager, I was invincible, but
mm.
as a 50-year-old manager, I wasn't so invincible. It's more
Yeah.
strategic, So, all of these things to consider. So I feel like this is the first time I've really dealing with the mental side of my
Mm.
well-being, the best that I've done. And
Yeah.
the reason for that is because I've put all the pillars in an important level, and that means eating properly, sleeping well, having time off. I don't work the 100-hour plus weeks anymore,
Mm.
and so I'm much more effective when I am at work.
Yeah.
It's about quality, not volume,
Mhm.
right? And so I'm very deliberate with my time.
Mm.
I live near the ocean, so we just look out the window, we're watching whales and all of that sort of stuff. So, all of this stuff, time with individual family members, time together with the family. We come from an Italian background, so the big dinner table is very important to us.
Yeah.
And my dear wife, she's from a same sort of background, so we just got lots of kids and babies and all of that sort of stuff, around food, and we value the all of the simple stuff in life,
Yeah.
and so I've put all of those things in place,
Mm.
and I've got two calendars running. I've got my private calendar and my business calendar, and they
Mhm.
overlay.
Yep.
And you know what, I hold my private calendar bookings very up high, because if
Yeah.
they're in there, they mean something to me,
Yeah.
and then I won't book a slot that's going to impact that, because
Yeah.
I'm managing my well-being,
Mm.
and I can see myself doing this business because of the joy I get. And if I
Mhm.
do it really well and manage it well, I can have it all. I can have the great lifestyle, and I can have the purposeful living, and I can help these businesses. But I don't need to be working 100 hours a week to do that. And
Yeah.
that's what I've learned. I've learned in the last few years to bring that balance right.
Mm.
Then what happens is I bring my A game. I'm bringing
Mm.
to the table. Whereas in the past I could be really tired. It was really sometimes clouded.
Mm.
So yeah, I feel really proud of that, actually,
Yeah.
Mary. I feel proud that I've actually done that in my life,
Yeah.
and I'll continue to do it now that I know how to do it.
Mm.
And it's delivering. We talk about joy. I'm getting joy because I'm actually doing what I need to do in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'd imagine with all of that management, particularly the two calendars that are overlapping, boundaries. I'm assuming boundaries are a really play a big part in everything that you do.
Yes, very much so.
Mm.
So even with the members and the clients, I have the boundaries pretty much in place. They know where to go and where not to go.
Mhm.
We've set that up, and it's all respectful.
Mm.
It's very professional,
Yeah.
because it has to be.
Yeah.
They're paying. I'm getting paid, so I need to deliver a service that's fits the service that we're providing.
Mm.
Um, yeah, by providing those boundaries and just a structure that also allows me to have the joy is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I must be doing it well because I'm at joy all the time.
Yeah.
Most days I'm just what am I doing next? And the calendar's full, and I look at usually the night before I'll have a quick look at what the day is unfolding. I go, wow, I've got 7 in a row, all of this stuff. But I'm excited because I go, wow, it's another opportunity,
Yeah.
to fulfill that vision.
Mm.
Yeah,
And so is there, I mean, you've mentioned a couple of times, talking up there, like
yeah,
I'm assuming praying that you're talking
yes,
about. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And so is there anything else from a specific mental health point of view? Like, do you meditate, or is it being on the water that helps you, or is the prayer something that really helps you? Is there one thing, a few things
yeah,
that you do?
yeah. I pray a lot more. That's my thing.
Mm.
And I believed in God all my life, right?
Yeah.
But then when I was laying in a hospital in New Zealand, 6 weeks after my wife passed away, and I had a motorbike accident, and I had 3 little kids at home and I was running out of people to look after them. I did a lot of praying on that day, on those days.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then I realised that, and he delivered. He brought some friends of ours, and they helped looked after it, and they became our grandparents over there. It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
But what I realised is you just can't pray and ask for stuff, at the dying moment. It's not a great way to live life, right? So I vowed to myself that I would actually be better at that,
Yeah.
and that's what I've done is
Yeah.
I have a relationship with God, and
Yep.
I'm really proud of that. And
Yeah.
He's just, opened doors up galore. And now, so I pray every day, and I spend most of my time really praying for others,
Yeah.
and praying for. I'm thankful for everything
Yeah.
that's coming on, and it's the humility is just incredible, and it's the place that I want to. I want to live in that space.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's my day. My day is just being humbled.
Yeah.
Looking at the ocean. We've got the best people in our life. We've got great, and I can't. You know, I have to praise that every day because
Yeah.
it's so joyful. The
Absolutely.
season we're living in is phenomenal
Yeah.
because I know what the season we used to live in looked like,
Mm. Yeah.
right? So, and I know, it took a lot for us to get out of that. That's
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm not a meditator per se, but I do pray, and I
mm,
feel like that they're kind of the same in a sense of I'm connecting to God, and to both my parents have passed away, so I have a beautiful relationship with my parents.
beautiful.
And I that's how I feel like I meditate is the
Yeah,
prayer that I'm doing.
yeah,
And I think that gratitude and the being being really grateful for everything that's happening in your life, I think is a something that's really important, because my understanding of all our guides and angels that are around us, when we're saying thank you and oh my gosh, this is amazing, they go, oh, she really likes this, what else can we give her? And
exactly.
then you're constantly getting all of these amazing things, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, and they're like, great, that she loves that, what else can we give her? So that having that gratitude and just being
Yeah.
so happy about what we've got is so it's joyous. It's that word that you've used so many times. Is That's that joy, isn't it?
I wish there was a word that was more, but I
Yes,
can't think of one, so that's why I keep
we'll
going
just
on.
use
But it
that.
is. It's yeah. It's really brings the balance. It
Yes.
removes the ego right out of the picture,
Hmm.
and you just become so humble that everything you start looking at everything in
Yeah,
such a positive way. I look at
absolutely.
where we live, how we live, the
Mm.
people we're in. Everything is amazing
Yeah.
because one day it could all be taken from us.
Yeah.
So why not live like that now?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah,
so if you're I don't know, you meet someone at a group gathering and someone's thinking about starting to explore their true passion and purpose, what advice would you give them? Like what's one thing that you would say to them as they start on their journey?
yeah. So I think most people, if I relate to back to myself and that earlier story, is that you
Yeah.
have fear, right?
Mm.
Fear will, and you have fear as a kid, right? So
Hmm.
I was the shy kid, and I had this fear all the way to adulthood.
Yeah.
And I had this fear. I don't know what it was, but it controlled me, and it
Mm.
was gonna. And it was something in me said, I need to shake this because it's stopping me from being something,
Yeah.
And so my suggestion is face your fears. I know everyone's heard that, right? But really, face your fear in a way that will allow you to grow. And by facing that fear, you will grow. Whether it's public speaking, whether it's whatever it is, you'll find that just by doing,
Mm.
right, by doing something towards that, will let that go, right? And I always jokingly say, even to the members, I say, once you've done this 1,000 times, you'll get the hang of it. Right?
Yeah.
And they all laugh, right? But what I'm really saying to them is just make it a habit.
Mm.
And if you make it a habit, it's going to remove the fear. And if you remove the fear, then your true self will come out.
Mm.
It just comes out. And you could be 65 and
Mm.
that happens, or you could be 15. It's there's no rocket science to this, but the brain will stop you. You will stop. You can stop yourself doing anything, or you can create your mind to do anything. So
Yeah.
you choose.
Yeah.
My tip is face your fears,
Yeah.
and then deal. Just by doing something towards overcoming that fear, and then explore it and go, wow, I actually like this.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden you go, well, I can do that. What about that? And then it leads to the next step. And
Yeah.
at a young age, you don't know anything more. You don't have any wisdom yet,
Yeah.
to understand that.
Yeah.
But you can do that. You can
Yeah.
you can do something that will get you to go forward. And as the wisdom builds, then you'll unpack all of that stuff.
Yeah. 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 I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, that's yeah. And I think the thing is too is that sometimes when people are thinking, I want to do something different and they're frozen by fear, there's all this time that goes on, them thinking in their mind, at least if they have face it and have a go, they might actually realize it's not what they want to do, but it actually might put them on a different pathway to something else.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, exploring it. And I'll give you another tip, right? This is from my own thing, is if you get God on your side,
Mm.
right? If you're praying for it and you're asking for it, the doors are going to open,
Yeah,
right? And it's a lot
absolutely.
easier pathway than knocking down mountains
Yeah.
on your own, right? So if you
Yeah.
put those two things together, you can just about do anything.
Do
I
anything.
haven't seen anything that can't be done
Yeah,
with those two things, right? You got
absolutely.
to do the work. He
Yeah,
opens the doors,
yeah, yeah,
right?
beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's yeah, I love that. I love that. So, can you believe that we've actually only got a couple of minutes left?
I knew this chat would go quick.
Absolutely, it's like blink.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask all of my guests before we finish our amazing conversation. So, what is one lesson or truth that you've learned on your journey that you wish you had known earlier?
Well, hmm, I think that the facing the fears, I would have really appreciated someone
Mm.
sharing that bit of insight to me as a 7-year-old,
Yeah.
because I think I would have had even a different childhood. I didn't have a
Oh,
bad childhood,
yeah.
right? But I had a limited childhood,
Mm,
because I was the middle son, I was the quiet one, and I just was compliant. But I would have had a phenomenal childhood if I understood that. And
wow.
maybe, and so if you ask me what would I do differently
Mm,
or do that earlier, because maybe my life would be even more amazing. Think
yeah,
about that, right? So
yeah,
I don't regret anything, but
yeah.
I just, if you had your time again, I would have liked to have learnt that lesson as a
Mm,
7-year-old,
yeah, yeah.
and then
Wow.
watch life unfold then,
Yeah.
because there's so many opportunities at school that I
Mm,
look back on that I didn't take,
mm, mm.
and then that would have molded me different again, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
How interesting.
mm,
Wow.
yeah,
Just so the overall feeling is just facing the fear.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's simple, right?
yeah, yeah.
But who hasn't had fear?
Yeah,
Show me
exactly.
someone. Show me
Yeah,
someone that hasn't had some sort of fear to conquer.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's relative to children because
Yep.
they carry stuff.
Mm,
So yeah, I thought about this a lot, Megan, and I was
mm.
trying to think of some real super duper complex scenario, but in reality, it's just comes
Yep.
down to a thing I learnt in the Bible, which is self love.
Mm.
Right? If you love yourself and if you believe that you're worthy,
Yep.
all things are possible, right?
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
when I'm working with business owners,
Mm.
guess what? It comes when you dig deep, you do engineer, right? Root cause analysis, keep digging in. You find out that it always comes back down to those two things:
Yeah,
self-love and worthiness.
yeah.
How
Wow.
powerful is that?
Very powerful.
But I can't cover that on the first
Oh, yeah.
session. That's way
It's like,
too
"Whoa."
deep.
But it's a beautiful way for us to end our conversation today, so thank you.
Yeah,
So
thank you, Megan.
look, I am just so grateful for giving me your time today, and just for sharing everything that you have shared today. I knew our conversation was gonna be incredible, but it's definitely filled my cup, so thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's always a joy being around you. From the moment I met you, I thought, wow, what a great human being. So I feel very honoured and privileged that you sharing this time, and that you thought of me.
Y
This old guy with
oh,
the cap
oh,
on, face.
I love it,
Yeah,
Leo, it's amazing, so
yeah. No, I
thank you.
really, really feel privileged, and watch this space. We'll probably do some more stuff together, Megan. Right?
Definitely, absolutely, absolutely, without a doubt, for sure. So thank you, Leo.
Thank you. Thank
And
you. It's
I
been an honour and privilege.
thank you for joining me on this episode of The True North Show. I hope today's conversation brought you closer to your own sense of purpose and reminded you of the power you hold within. If this resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who's also walking the path of becoming. To continue the journey, head over to megannorth.com. You'll find resources, support, and ways to work with me one-on-one. Until next time, keep trusting yourself, following your intuition, and taking one aligned step at a time. Your true north is never lost. It's just waiting for you to come home.